open up conference play against Mississippi State. We've had some good games with them the last 3 or 4 years. We're glad to be at home. We definitely our crowd will be a big advantage. We appreciate those guys the first 2 games and really expect another great crowd. So offensively, they got the quarterback back. We're very impressed with him. He's a big guy that can throw the football. They got the majority of their offensive line back, and they're very good at what they do schematically on offense. Defensively, it looks like the same Mississippi State teams that we played the last 3 or 4 years. They're long, they're fast, they can run, and they're physical, and they play very sound football, and they make you earn it. So we got our work cut out for us, and it should be a good one.
Question?
Gus, how would you evaluate Nick's performance after 2 games?
Nick improved. Nick improved from week 1 to week 2, and we expected him to. He executed that deep ball extremely well, and he was more comfortable. He did make some mistakes, but at the same time, there was mistakes around him that made his mistakes, look a little worse than they probably were. So we got to get better as a whole offense to help him, as he grows in this offense also.
Ellis Johnson was talking the other day about just trash plays, giving up some big plays, missing tackles. You guys have given up a lot of yards. You've seen it step up in the red zone. He says that's going to catch up to you guys at some point. Do you kind of agree with that and some concerns there?
Well, I think our defense is a work in progress like our offense. And, a lot of new guys out there, a lot of inexperienced guys. And, so you're going to make some mistakes as you go, and we have. But, when you find a way to hold them out of the end zone, I think that's big, and that'll help for moving forward. But at the same time, offensively and defensively, each week we should cut down on the mistakes.
Gus, with Marcus Davis being a high school quarterback, has it been unusual that he's progressed as fast as he has at changing positions?
Well, we've had really good success, at the wide receiver position with former quarterbacks because they have a little different view of the game. We ask our receivers to think like a quarterback a lot of times, know the quarterback's reads and where the ball's going and all that. And he's a very intelligent football player, and the moment's not too big for him. A lot of freshmen, sometimes the moment are too big, especially early in the season, but he's a guy you'll see more and more on the field.
How do you feel about the receiving corps after week 2?
They improved as a group, there's no doubt. You could see we were giving other guys chances. Marcus was one of those guys, and so we're still evaluating that group, and we feel like it can be a solid group, before it's all said and done this year.
Let's talk about the running back situation. The 3 guys use them all a little bit differently, but they all can all produce them.
Yeah, our running back is definitely one of our strengths of our offense, that position, and they're all 3 different. We can utilize them in different ways, and so far they've all 3 been very solid.
You haven't been able to get the tight ends going quite yet. I know CJ's been targeted a few times, but just hasn't been able to get a ball yet, and I don't think Brandon's been targeted at all. What do you see from the tight ends thus far in the first 2 games?
Well, we've not thrown the ball that much at all anyway. The more we throw it, the more we'll spread it around. And of course, the big thing for our passing game is spread the ball around. And both those guys are definitely big targets that'll be utilized more and more as the season goes on.
Gus, have you seen any change in the players or just a different mentality going into the first SEC game? Is any of that in practice kind of changed a little bit?
I think so. As far as the older players especially. Now the young players, they're still trying to figure out what's going on. But the older guys, I like to think our attention to detail, especially on Sunday, was better because it's a different season now, and the older guys understand that.
You've talked a little bit about judging how your team handles adversity and the psyche of the team, but do you really find out, because they struggled the last 10 games against SEC teams, kind of how tough they are, their mettle?
Yeah, I think each week we're going to learn more about our team. All I can tell you right now is I'm proud of our guys and the way they've responded so far. And we faced some adversity in both these first games. I like the way we handled it, but now you're getting into your league, and we're playing against some of the best teams in America, and we'll face more adversity. And we'll get a chance to see, how we respond moving forward.
Gus, you mentioned not passing the ball very much quite yet. It's been about 70-30 run thus far. You've also been able to play with the lead, not playing close games. How comfortable are you where, if you are trailing by multiple possessions, where you are going to have to throw more? How comfortable are you in that scenario where you are, where you're going to have to rely on Nick to throw more than he has?
We're probably about as comfortable as you can be with a guy that, has only started, 2 games so far, and then with an experienced receiving crew. But at the same time, we've worked on those situations in practice, and we'll have a plan, and we'll feel good about that plan when it happens.
Gus, Auburn hasn't won an SEC game, I think 10 tries, and they're only 10. You guys talked about that at all, about getting, kind of breaking that streak?
No, not even thought about it. I mean, I've told those guys I'm not worried about last year, and it's a new year, and it's a new season, and we understand the SEC that we're going to have to play well to win, but we've not talked about last year.
Coach, are you one of those that, I know each game is important, but you've already mentioned, hey, it's a new season as in league play beginning. Do you embrace that and talk about the importance of that being different than just a normal game?
I think you have to, especially in this league. You've got to be real with your players. And like I said, I think our more experienced guys understand that. I mean, we played the best league in college football. And anytime you play an opponent, you got to have your best, and we understand that.
Any update on D Ford and Dustin Garrett for Saturday?
Both those guys practiced the other day, and they'll practice again today.
Gus, what's the latest with Chris? Is he going to have to miss the first half? Chris Frost?
Yes, he will have to miss first half. That is correct.
Is that something you guys should appeal, or?
No, it's done once the replay official makes that rule.
How does that work? Can you guys request that they look at a replay, or does it come like it's from the booth?
Yeah, you can challenge it, but once the booth guy makes a calling, it's set.
Did you guys challenge it?
I did not challenge it. No.
Going back, would you wish you had? Or?
I think everyone is kind of learning with these new rules about what is and what isn't, and the everything that goes with that.
How do you teach your guys then with that? Because it's now playing in effect.
Yeah, well, you got to coach it. I mean, you got to coach it different, and we kind of understood that before, but there's also experiences, and I believe every team that has to go through this will learn from it and get better for it.
How does having 4 assistants that formerly coached with Mississippi State change the dynamic of this opportunity this weekend?
Well, they're familiar, there's no doubt. Of course, Melvin was with them last year. But at the same time, it's you go about it as a normal game, but the fact that they're familiar and have worked there,
Can you talk about the offensive line, how it's done through 2 games so far?
Our offensive line, I think they improved also. We still got to cut down on our little mistakes. We had a couple free guys running. We got to correct that, but I really feel like we'll continue to improve.
Coach, your method of getting plays called to the huddle, you have the big sign for the different quadrants of different pictures. When in your career did you start using that method, and how is it effective with the current offense?
Well, of course, in the past I've done a lot of numbers and colors and things like that, and you've got to kind of evolve as you go. Especially when you have assistants you coach against that used to coach with you and all that, and so you got to kind of keep that on the cutting edge. And of course, we played against Oregon and Chip Kelly 2010. I got a chance to last year, and his signs were fancier than ours, so I tried to get a little competitive with that. So hopefully we're doing a better job.
You try to use some familiar figures there just so the kids kind of connect with it still. You see Rick Ross. Or
I'm not that creative with all that, but our players, they have some ownership in that.
Do you know who all the people are on those cards?
Most of them. There's a few of them I'm a little curious about, but Brett assures me it's best for our players.
Let's talk about the cornerbacks. Looks like they're playing a lot better than they did last year. What do you say?
Yeah, we left spring and we felt like that was one of the strengths of our defense. And Coach Smith's done an excellent job with those guys, and he's put them in a position to make plays. Coach Johnson. And they're playing extremely well, not just in the pass game, but they're helping us in the run game also.
I saw Chris finish the game better. How's he doing?
Chris is doing fine. We expect him to play.
I wanted to ask you about Kamai Harrell and Jonathan Jones. Are they close to getting back, or is it going to be a while on those two?
Kamai is getting close. Jonathan is going to be a while, but Kamai's getting close, or closer.
What's it like for you kind of going in your first SEC game as a SEC head coach?
Yeah. You know, really, you just, you know, you take it one game at a time, but I really don't get too caught up in that. It's an important game regardless, whether it's the first SEC as head coach. I mean, when you coach, it feels kind of the same, to be honest with you. But it's an important game, and I understand that, and our players do too.
But Darius Owens just having to move back and forth from linebacker to end, how do you think he's performed in these first 2 games?
I'll tell you what, last game his motor was, he was really running. He was very active, running the football, putting pressure on the quarterback, helping in the run game, and you know, you can tell he's starting to get more comfortable, you know, with his hand down. And you know what, it probably helped him. He was playing some linebacker too, you know. So.
Is there any thought of moving into linebackers for Chris after that?
Yeah, we'll see. Coach Johnson, you know, he'll have a plan personnel-wise, and so we'll see.
As how you go about preparing for, I know the assumption is that Tyler Russell is going to be their starter as long as he's cleared medically, but how do you prepare for 2 quarterbacks where their backup can at least play sometime, even to spell Tyler, even if he does play and start?
Well, both of them are different, so, you know, as a coach, you've got to prepare for each one of them, and you've got to prepare for what each one of them does the best.
Gus, do you keep an eye on what Chip Kelly does with the Eagles, just out of curiosity of how that?
No, I don't have time. Somebody told me last night they played well and they were playing fast, and that's about it. So.
Any other questions?
Gus, the first 2 games have been played in pretty warm, muggy conditions. I mean, as a coach, do you welcome that? And how do you think they've done condition-wise?
Well, you know, first of all, I think we're in good condition. I think our, of course, Ryan Russell's doing a great job with our guys. I think our coaches are doing a good job with our guys, and I think for the most part in the second half we've been pretty fresh, and so we'll continue to have that, and hopefully that will continue to be an edge for us.